Thanks for joining us. I'm Shannon Martin. Big changes are coming to Ontario classrooms. A government source tells CBC News the province plans to crack down on cell phone use, a story first reported by the Toronto Star. Lorenda Redekop has more on what we've learned so far.
A source says Ontario's education minister will introduce tighter rules on cell phone use at schools in an unusual Sunday news conference. He did ban most cell phone usage at schools back in 2019.
To ensure that young people are focused on learning and not on their cell phones.
Though phone use continues, this change will have teeth, according to the source. These three friends, all in grade 12, feel a ban goes too far.
It's going to make students want to take them out more and use them more and neglect the lesson that's going on just because they can. If you take something away, someone's going to want it more.
At the end of the day, it's the kid's decision if they're going to be on the phone and not look at the lesson.
Not exactly fair, especially to the people who are responsible enough to know when to put them away.
But polling by the government-connected Campaign Research found a majority of adults want more restrictions of kids' phones during class time.
Enforcement will be very, very difficult. And actually, it could take time away from the teaching aspect of a classroom if the teacher is trying to enforce cell phone use.
That's the same worry by the high school teachers union.
I fear that what's going to happen is it's going to be more policing by teachers and less teaching.
These changes are coming as several Ontario school boards are suing big social media companies, arguing they're addictive and disrupt learning.
Snapchat or TikTok. TikTok!
That's what these boys are using their phones for. The idea of a full ban in school.
I feel like maybe for high school it's more needed, but not for like middle school, elementary school.
His stepdad is okay with it.
But with something that's as pervasive as cell phones and the temptations they provide for kids these days, it's not a bad idea to give the local communities an extra tool and say, look, the Ministry of Education just doesn't allow this, so we don't even need to debate it locally.
The other part of the announcement, according to the source, will be tightening up rules around vaping in schools. Lorenda Redekop, CBC News, Toronto.
Okay, it's not do or die, but it kind of feels like it. The Leafs taking on the Bruins for Game 4. Boston leading round one of the playoffs so far, 2-1. Greg Ross is standing by live for us tonight at Maple Leaf Square with the fans. Hey, Greg.
Hey, Shannon, I'll tell you what. I mean, we are still a couple of hours away from puck drop, but it is starting to ramp up here. You can feel the energy in the air. These Leaf fans are excited. They're hoping to bring that energy into the building to help their team with a much-needed victory. Because remember, the Leafs enter this game tonight trailing 2-1 in this best-of-7 series. So we've got people bringing their big game. We've got the wigs. You got the wig on tonight, ready to go. I mean,
Go Leafs, go!
Go Leafs, go. That's all she's going to say. Look at this whole family coming with their wigs. I mean, you got the wigs on, you got the face paint. Get a shot of this. We got the beard paint. I mean, you're going above and beyond when you put on the beard paint.
We love you, Leafs.
The beard paint. I'm talking about the beard paint. I mean,
I'm just hoping it comes off for church in the morning. So
he's hoping it comes off for church in the morning, but he's going to need it to help cheer on the Leafs tonight. There's no doubt about it. How excited are you about Game 4 tonight?
Really excited.
Really excited. There you go. That's the word. They're really excited, and the reason they're really excited is because they want the Leafs to pull even in this series. The last thing you want to do is fall down 3-1 and have to head back to Boston, Shannon, for Game 5, facing elimination in this series.
Yeah, nobody wants that. I love the dedication. I love the beard paint. So, Greg, fans did get some good news. A star player is back in action. We're all thankful to hear that.
Yeah, and that's William Nylander. William Nylander has not played a game in this series after playing all 82 regular season games. Listen to the reaction to Nylander being back in. But healthy all season, and then suddenly when the playoffs start, not ready to go with an undisclosed injury, but the Leafs tell us they expect him to return to the lineup tonight. Why is that important? William Nylander, the second leading scorer on this team, only trailing Austin Matthews in scoring this year, had 40 goals, and they can definitely use that offense. How important is it to get William Nylander back in the lineup tonight?
Absolutely important. We need him back. He's been out the last 3 games. We need him back. We need him back to get everybody together and get everybody on the win.
So just to be clear, It's absolutely important to get William Nylander back in the lineup for the Leafs tonight. And he's going to have to try and fit in with this team and try to make things work. We'll see where they put him in the lineup. But there's no doubt about it, Shannon. It's not a must-win game for the Leafs, but it is a very important game for the Leafs that they just can't afford to lose in this series.
Absolutely. Thank you, Greg. Have so much fun watching the game tonight. Go Leafs, go.
Designated hitter number 17, Shohei Ohtani.
Wow, it is a noticeably different reaction than Ohtani got last year, and obviously, as you can hear, a sizable portion of the crowd here tonight not too happy. And this one high in the air to right field, and it's gone.
Yeah, some feelings being expressed there. The other boys in blue hoping to bounce back after a disastrous outing last night against Shohei Ohtani and the Dodgers. The Jays lost 12-2 in front of a hometown crowd, despite the superstar being showered with booze. As you saw there, though, he responded with a home run on his first at-bat. We spoke to some fans headed to the game this afternoon. Safe to say, yeah, some mixed feelings with the memory of the free agency drama, which left the hopes of Jays fans up in the air.
Would have been great to have him, but we didn't get him.
He should have signed with the Jays. Yeah.
It is a business decision. You know, these ball players, they go wherever they can do best for themselves, and they're looking out for number one, and whatever, man, it's all good. No hard feelings.
No hard feelings. Okay, thankfully for the Jays, no homers from Ohtani this afternoon, just an RBI, but it was just enough for the Dodgers to win the game 4-2. The three-game series wraps up tomorrow. Sophia joining us for our first look at the forecast. And I thought this weekend was going to be like a summer-like weekend, sunshine, but no, we got lots of rain and some gray skies.
Yeah, April showers, May flowers. It's a sign of things to come over the next few days. The doom and gloom is here, but so are the increasing temperatures. It'll stay dry for many of you at Maple Leaf Square, though, over the next couple hours. Most of the rain came through first thing in the morning. You cleared first in southwestern Ontario. That's why you are still enjoying and basking in the glorious mid to high 20s. Still some cooler conditions through that cold front for those of you in parts of the eastern part of the province, and still some heavier showers moving through that Cobourg to Kingston stretch. It is a sign of things to come. And believe it or not, all of this instability we're experiencing today and over the next few days is actually the tall leading edge of the severe weather outbreak that's happening stateside. Tons of tornadoes yesterday, and we have just the leading edge of that system. It's wrung out substantially, but it does still have some thunderstorm energy that we will be dealing with not only into the overnight tonight, but also for Sunday. It's a warm, muggy, humid air mass that could bring us our warmest temperatures so far this year. 21 forecast for Sunday. We'll even talk about the humidex that's in place in the long range as well. Chances some non-severe storms throughout much of the southern Ontario region when that cold front bubbles through into Saturday evening, and then similar story for Sunday afternoon. Just waves of low pressure coming through. We'll talk about all of this in the long range and how some of you may even be on the hook for some snow out of these waves of unsettled weather, Shannon.
Snow and humidity. Okay, we'll talk to you in a bit.
Yeah, always exciting.
A 21-year-old man is dead after what police are calling a road rage incident led to a 6-vehicle crash in Innisfil. It happened at about 5:30 yesterday on Highway 400 South at Simcoe Road 89.
Initial reports suggest that 2 vehicles were road raging, which resulted in a collision between the 2 vehicles. Both were traveling southbound. From the initial collision, one of the vehicles crossed the center median, dividing the highway into the northbound lanes, which resulted in a collision with a pickup truck traveling northbound. The vehicle that crossed the median rolled, and as a result of the collision, a 21-year-old male was pronounced deceased from his injuries.
Now, police are only saying that he was from Mississauga. The highway was shut down for almost 12 hours before reopening this morning. Any witnesses with dash cam footage are asked to contact OPP. Well, meantime, a man is fighting for his life after the single car crash in Scarborough. Police got the call just before 7 a.m. this morning. The driver hit a hydro pole and was trapped until emergency crews managed to pull him to safety before taking him to hospital. Turning to southwestern Ontario next, the Aamjiwnaang First Nation is under a state of emergency tonight for weeks. High levels of a cancer-causing chemical have been detected in the area near a plastics plant. Katie Nicholson takes us there.
There's another separate one there over the overpass. There's another one where the stacks are. That's another facility.
Aamjiwnaang is surrounded by industry. And for band councillor Darren Henry, that means constantly fighting against pollution. Most recently, benzene levels. So high, the community declared a state of emergency.
We don't know what we're getting from over there.
Over the last few weeks, preliminary data from benzene monitors in the area showed huge spikes of the cancer-causing chemical.
If I sprayed benzene to anybody's face, I would be charged for assault. And I can't fathom that that's not happening to people responsible for the benzene exposures.
The province issued INEOS Plastics Chemical Plant orders to identify the source and come up with solutions to stop the emissions. It's not the first time the chemical plant received orders. In 2019, after elevated levels were detected, it was ordered to reduce the discharge of benzene. Despite that, in 2020 and 2023, it was slapped with more orders to take further measures. INEOS didn't respond to CBC News today, but in a statement last week said it was shutting down to perform maintenance and address a technical issue. In Ottawa, where the world is hammering out a plastics treaty, anger.
We should be tough on this crime, and that means enforcement and jail time if measures aren't taken to reduce those emissions.
The federal government signaled it's watching. Environment Minister Stephen Guilbeault saying his department is taking a range of action to support better air quality for the community. Far too tepid a response for Henry.
They just don't care about our rights. I mean, if they did, we'd be sitting at a table with them, I think, right now, saying, how is this going to stop? What do we need to do to make it better?
For now, they're waging the fight on their own. Katie Nicholson, CBC News, Aamjiwnaang First Nation.
Big news this week when Honda announced it'll pump billions of dollars into electric vehicle plants. 2 of them are set to be added to its facility in Alliston. As Patrick Swadden shows us, locals are celebrating the news, but there are also some potential roadblocks.
When a company says it's pouring $15 billion into your province, it's hard not to speak in superlatives.
This is historic. It's the largest auto investment in Canadian history.
One that will see 4 new EV plants built in Ontario, 2 of them to be added to Honda's existing facility in Alliston, a small community between Toronto and Barrie.
I could not help but think it's fantastic.
Any addition certainly helps.
Alliston's facility already employing 4,200 workers, the province saying the expected EV plants will amount to 1,000 new jobs.
And the opportunities for the local residents are going to be absolutely staggeringly fantastic.
Mayor Richard Norcross praising the knock-on effects of the new plants and says businesses stand to benefit, creating new jobs in the community that support the local workers.
And they're like, wow, this is phenomenal. And even they're saying, you know, I might have to go from 3 employees now to 6 employees.
The Canadian Vehicle Manufacturers Association saying roughly 8 jobs are created for every assembly line position, as more factory employees means more transit, restaurants, shops, retail outlets, supply companies, and trade workers are needed in the community.
This level of magnitude is terrific for our community.
With his flower and chocolate shop, Lachlan McKirk represents one of those businesses and others in Alliston's BIA. His excitement guarded by recent history, as Ford and GM plants shut down in St. Thomas and Oshawa, leaving thousands out of work.
For this boost, it's a welcome one, but the Alliston community will never take Honda for granted, that's for sure.
So, what does the town need to keep afloat? The same thing every town in Ontario needs right now. More housing, better infrastructure.
I think it's well known that we just don't have the stock of housing available to people locally.
with this former mayor saying people need to be housed close to where they work. With 1,000 more employees expected, the town has its work cut out for it.
I think all levels of government have to work together in order to make sure those things come to fruition.
But McCachran confident Honda wouldn't double down on Alliston without a labor force to match it. Those two plants expected to be operational 2028. Patrick Swadden, CBC News, Toronto.
After all the excitement for the solar eclipse, the Ontario Association of Optometrists says most Ontarians did use proper eye protection. So far, they've seen about 118 cases of eye damage.
The symptoms that we are concerned about would be red, irritated eyes or burning sensation in the eyes, or blurred vision or distorted vision. Those would be the symptoms we'd be concerned about.
Also reporting some good news, there are no reported cases of severe eye damage in the province. As you just heard her say, if you're experiencing a burning sensation in your eyes or blurry vision, you should make sure to book an appointment for a checkup. Well, April is Cancer Awareness Month. A big part of the conversation is early detection. Our province is home to one of the top cancer research centers around the world. I had a chance to speak with the president and CEO of the Princess Margaret Cancer Foundation. She tells us about some of the critical work underway.
Fortunately, millennials are the generation with the fastest rising cancer rates around the world. Between 1990 and 2019, we actually saw a nearly 80% increase in cancer among people ages 18 to 49, and we're expecting a 30% increase by 2030.
What kind of cancers are younger people facing?
There's actually over 12 different cancers that are on the increase among millennials around the world, and it varies by country. In North America, we are seeing quite a rise in gastrointestinal cancers. And the cancer that really is rising among young people in North America is colorectal cancer. This is becoming a very serious problem, and we need to help cancer patients and young people facing cancer. So we're looking at things like early detection through a simple blood test, which would pick up colorectal cancers as well as several other cancers, years in some cases before you have symptoms.
Can we zero in on the blood test? Because I think people would hear that and go, oh, that sounds amazing. It sounds relatively simple. Is that something that's already happening, or is it waiting approval, or where is that at?
It's something that's going through clinical trials, which is the stage all new cancer therapies and tests would need to go through before they receive approval, but we're getting close. We've known for a long time that there is something called circulating tumor DNA in a person's bloodstream when they are developing cancer. A few years ago, our challenge was we knew it was in a person's bloodstream, but we couldn't necessarily tell you where in the body the cancer was, which of course isn't very helpful. But now the technology at the Princess Margaret is so much more refined, we can actually pick up over 50 different common cancers and tell you where in your body that cancer signal is coming from. We actually think the future of cancer detection over the next 7 to 10 years, even earlier if we could raise more money, would be you go to your GP or your family doctor, you go for routine blood work, usually every year for a physical. You will know you have cancer at what we might think of as almost a precancerous stage or stage 0 before you're experiencing symptoms. And we're not the only ones developing this blood test, but our blood test is one of the most sophisticated and sensitive blood tests in the world. So we're really excited about that for all Canadians and for the world.
The 69th season at Woodbine Racetrack is officially galloping into action. Fans and jockeys getting ready for the big moment today. Among the crowd, Premier Doug Ford and Toronto Mayor Olivia Chow. They were there celebrating the reopening of the Woodbine Cares Community Garden. The project had been suspended during the pandemic. The garden first opened in 2016. The idea is to grow and donate fresh food to local organizations working to tackle food insecurity. Sophia's back now talking about the wild swings we can expect from snow to humidity. Like, how does that even work?
Yeah, a ton of thunderstorm energy and instability, and then to the north, it's colder air at play. Let's spell it all out for you. And the price tag some of you may get to pay is some warm temperatures to boot. Now, the take-home message is it's not going to be a total washout the next few days, but you will have rounds and rounds of instability. Let's look at Sunday first off. 21 degrees, potentially the warmest day so far this year. Could even come with a little bit of a humidex. We really do have everything in the kitchen sink in this forecast. Look at that, 28 in Windsor with how it feels with that hot, sticky humidity, 25 in London for the feels like value, and 23 in Toronto. It could come with a bit of a wet price tag. Here's how it looks. There could be some pockets of sunshine here and there, but as that cold front sags south for Sunday, could bring some rounds of showers and some non-severe storms. Similar conditions for Monday with another push of rainfall, and similar again for Tuesday as this system begins to fizzle out on you. Ton of rain in parts of the northwest. Here's where that cool air comes into play. About 50 millimeters of rainfall for those of you in the Sioux. And anywhere from Atikokan to Geraldton, tons of snowfall in between. Some mixing and some freezing rain. For everybody to the south, it's the heat, mainly seasonal throughout your work week. But look at this U-turn we do from Sunday's 21 degrees to 10 degrees towards the lower end with an 11-degree day on Monday. It's this east wind off parts of the lake that could keep things a little cooler for those of you in the GTA and to the east. But enjoy that warmth into the west for your Monday before a seasonal week. Hopefully it's smooth sailing for the storm risk for those of you in Maple Leaf Square this evening, and hopefully it's smooth sailing for the game as well. Again, layer up this week and have the umbrella with you because it's going to be unsettled, but not a total washout, Shannon.
All right, thanks, Sophia. A Japanese celebrity is turning 70 this year. Despite his advanced age, he made a special appearance in Tokyo. Yes, it was 1954 when the first Godzilla movie debuted, and today the radioactive reptile's image standing 100 meters was projected onto a government building. The show runs until May 6th. Godzilla, in fact, holds an official title in the city ward where the building is located, Cultural Ambassador. That's our show for you tonight, where we're taking you back to Maple Leaf Square. Leafs taking on the Bruins in Game 4 of the Eastern first round. Fans are super excited. The Buds playing in front of a hometown crowd. Puck drops at 8 o'clock. Go Leafs, glow.